I thought I heard a gunshot too.
Somebody was hitting something. And we're live. Yeah, I got you.
Alright, so the way this goes is we just talk, man. I don't know, have you checked it out?
No, I haven't, bro. I haven't.
Just conversations.
I'm trying to get this.
It's just conversations with Chris Lopez.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
He's went to high school with him. He's a wrestler.
Yep, wrestling back in the days.
Entrepreneur now. He's a hustler. Right. So what's going on, bro?
You know, just with this quarantine, it's been pretty nuts. You know, it's been interesting. You know, just kind of the whole shutdown and just it's gonna change the way everybody does things. Everybody's gonna be so cautious. They're gonna be worried. Oh my God, don't get so close, and it's gonna kind of ruin the way we socialize. Truly.
Yeah, I'm completely rebelling against it.
I know
it's so wrong.
Right.
I find it's like wrong. I feel it. It's wrong. It's just wrong because it's telling people to stay away from each other.
Right.
And being affectionate with your friends and family can make you sick and die.
Correct.
It's not fucking true. We've been here for thousands and hundreds of thousands of years. We've done this before. There's been plagues before. And it's not even that bad.
Correct.
If you look at the data, it's not bad. Everyone that dies from it is already dying from other stuff.
Right. They already have pre-existing conditions, so it's just like, it's just what they say is the nail in the
Don't get me wrong. I feel bad for the people who die, who have it, and I get how the fear can make someone, people always overreact out of fear.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of fear is just something that'll haunt you for the rest of your life if you don't conquer it. But you gotta, the interesting thing with fear is that you have to constantly keep conquering it. You know, and you feel the fear, but you got to do it anyway.
That's what courage and bravery is all about.
Right.
It's not the lack of fear; it's the acknowledgement of it.
That's good. That's good.
That's what America was founded on. Like we came from a country that thought we needed a king to take care of us.
Right.
And then our founding fathers are like, nah, like I can do this. I don't need anybody. So let's get on this boat, go do this somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the whole quarantine, the whole government shutdown is unconstitutional. Right. There's that mother that got arrested the other day for being that part of her child.
I know, that's crazy.
That's fucking unconstitutional. That's a lawsuit. That's a bad law.
Man.
That's so unconstitutional. It's not martial law, so they can't do that.
Right. Yeah, but they didn't enforce martial law.
Yeah, and it's only recommended. And the thing that I read the other day is until it's safe, it's never
Yeah,
it's never safe.
It's never safe. Society in general is dangerous,
Yeah, walking down the street is dangerous. Shit, you could have a heart attack. You know how many people probably have a heart attack sitting around all day? How many people already had a pre-existing condition, cholesterol sitting around, and then they see some workout videos online, they decide to work out, break loose with a blood clot,
it's too bad.
They gotta, man, sunlight, you gotta have sunlight. It helps your skin create the vitamin D. Vitamin D is a steroidal hormone regulator, which helps your hormones in your brain so you don't become depressed and anxious. So like the government's telling everybody to stay in your house, get sick.
Basically, they want you to they want fear to chew on your dreams and your life and
The beautiful thing about this though is
you know what that is that the internet can be used to good and you
as long as the internet sort of remains as far as not being direction politics, remains smart conversation, I have faith that people will find it. But for sure I have. Anytime I do something, I always see it. Never
willing to make the decision, willing to fight, willing to have the courage to do that. Anybody can do it, they just want to get hard. Yeah, work for it.
I was supposed to one of them, I'm not going out.
Man,
it's frustrating. I go grocery shopping without my face mask. And I don't care, because I'm not going to get it. If I do get it, I'm not going to get sick from it.
You know what's interesting? I got sick in January, and it was so severe that I was literally coughing my blood.
That's rough. That was good.
I thought I was dying. Like, I was terrified, bro. And I was in Vegas. I was doing a job in Vegas, and I was at the Rio. I stayed at the Rio, and I literally was at the casino, and they're smoking, and I can't breathe, and I'm just, man, I'm like, like all kinds of different high antioxidants so that I can get better, and literally in a week.
Yeah, of course.
And I was like,
the body's amazing. That's one of the premises of Hustle More, is the body's already amazing.
Right.
Just the fact that it's adapted to living this severely unhealthy lifestyle of eating terrible foods. Right. The body, certain genetics of certain people aren't meant to eat, like northern, eastern European men should not be vegans. You shouldn't. And all the sugar, the carbohydrates. It's just, you look at the ancestry, they didn't eat this stuff. About hundreds of years, thousands of years, they ate a primary diet. The genetics involved with that. Right. So we live a lifestyle of everybody eats the same food.
I know, that's crazy.
Everybody eats fast food. Everybody eats
in and out.
It is. I can't go wrong. I love a burger. I love beef. That's my favorite food, man. That's one trial and error on my day. I can only eat beef, potatoes, and eggs without
nice. Yeah.
I get excited. Yeah, give me a
nice ribeye. See the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though. It is, a lot of people, it's just, it kind of sucks because a lot of people are sheep and, they use shepherd, and they kind of just follow whatever's happening on social media, they just follow the trends, they do whatever other people say, and it's just, they have to know that the information is out there for themselves in order for them.
They don't have to get it from anybody.
Yeah.
A news source.
They can find it themselves, especially the internet.
Yeah, it's pretty much been proven that the media does not look out for the people.
Yeah.
They fear mongering.
Fear mongering. And they lie to them.
Yeah, fear mongering for ratings so that cash flow can come in for the ad money.
Right.
That's all it is. And it's frustrating. There might be seeds or kernels of truth in there, but I'd rather go to the source and make my own opinion. I mean, that's what the founders wanted for the Americans anyways. They wanted them to be intelligent and form intelligent decisions. Right. Vote intelligent. That's what they wanted.
Yeah, definitely.
But the institutionalization of anything creates sheep, because people think you have to be an expert in order to know anything about anything. But you really don't. You just have to want to know.
Correct. You gotta have a willingness. Yeah. The willingness is really drives you to get the information.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest part about it. It's just people don't have a willingness anymore.
They only have willingness for ignorance.
For ignorance.
Yeah. Because it's easy.
Pobrecitos. For real.
It's easy. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard, man. It's not easy being woke. I'm gonna use a popular term. It's not. It's not easy, man. Because you start to see all the truths. And then you still have your old habits.
Right.
And then you have the culture that you came from.
Correct.
And it completely isolates you. And then you have to if you want to be a better person, you have to tear yourself down to build yourself back up.
Right.
And that's hard, bro.
It is hard.
It's really hard. A lot of times people abandon you in those situations because it's scary for them and it's inconvenient.
Right. Yeah, you got to deny yourself and just grow as a person to be able to understand and communicate, because communication is the biggest thing in life. If you're not able to communicate with people, you're not going to be able to understand people. And understanding people is crucial to do anything, because there's a lot of people in the world, and everything we do has to be done with people, except for when businesses try to get rid of people and build robots and try to systemize everything and think that they're solving problems because they think humans are, weak and dumb and all these things, but it's just, they've just been, they're just tripping.
They were indoctrinated. It's just people are just tripping. They're tripping, yeah. They've been indoctrinated with ideology.
We think that they're God.
That's like my biggest problem with the culture today. I talk about a lot about the love of money.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, money's great. It gets you stuff that you want.
Money solves human problems.
The moment money becomes high.
What's up, champ?
The moment money becomes priority over people was the problem. That's immediately a no-go for me.
Right.
Money is fictitious. We made it up.
Correct.
It's not even based on the gold standard anymore. It's based
Correct.
on the
debt
and GDP, and that shit's fluctuating constantly. So
can't trust it.
You can't trust it. So the only thing you can trust is the people that you know. So, I mean, even then, sometimes you can't even trust people.
You gotta trust the knowledge.
Yeah, trust
to get to wisdom, so that you can do what is right and do what is wise, because they are crafty and they will, like the stock. We're looking, for instance, the stock market, right? It literally crashed one day, and then the next day had the biggest day ever. And it's like, what? How does that happen? How does something just crash? That's like a building. How does it crash and then all of a sudden be built the next day?
It's based on people's feebleness. It's based on their emotion. That's basically all the stock market is. It's based on the emotion of the corporation.
Right.
So if the corporations get scared, the GDP drops. If they feel a surge of hope and inspiration, it should skyrocket.
Man.
And that shouldn't be what our financial system is based on, because humans have mood swings, bro. Yeah. There's mood swings.
Stop it. By the way, we are not stock market specialists.
No, I'm not a professional.
Just watch.
I dabble. I read and then I forget and I access it in the conversation. Sound smart, you know? You gotta sound smart.
No, a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It take you far.
Yeah, it'll get your foot in the door. People say you're articulate. I don't know whether to take that as an insult or as a compliment.
I know, huh?
And they go, oh, you're really articulate. I'm just like, well, thanks. Gotta think about it a little bit.
Does that mean I'm smart, or does that mean
are you surprised? Why are you so surprised? Yeah.
Man, this weather's been crazy.
Yeah, what's up with this hot today? It went from 60 to 90 in 2 days.
Like this, It was raining last week, the week before, pouring. I thought it was in Seattle or something.
Everybody's getting depressed.
I know. They can't go out for real.
Yeah, they can't go out for real.
Nobody in California loves to drive in the rain.
They don't even know how to drive in the rain.
They don't.
The first big rain of March, dude, I went to Costco and there was 5 accidents.
I know, that's crazy, right?
It's like,
I remember I drove up north. I had to do a job in San Francisco, and I drove up north, and they literally shut down 3 highways. I could not get through like 2 hours. It was crazy. People do not know how to drive.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Everybody's in a rush to get to their job.
And they think that, they can smash in the rain.
And they don't understand physics.
No, you cannot smash in the rain. Go the speed limit.
Or go below it.
Yeah, 10 miles at least.
Especially if you have bad suspension, hydroplane and
or bald tires. Bald tires.
Yeah. Lord. A lot of people don't even know what to do when they hydroplane. That's where all the accidents
happen.
turn their wheel. They turn their wheel, or they just keep going. Just let off the gas.
They're like, boom.
Yeah, just let off the gas. You start feeling it go, just let off the gas.
Man.
Allow the car to slow down. Gravity will push it back down under the water.
It's crazy.
So yeah, that's what happens. The speed, and then it starts flying on top of the water.
Right.
And then, there was plenty of situations where I almost did hydroplane.
I was in Whittier. I was working in Whittier. That's a long time ago. I was working in Whittier and I was late.
Yeah.
And I was driving fast.
Yeah.
And so the curve, goes around, right, to get to the exit. I think it was Beverly. Boom! And I literally slide off the edge, and only my driver front tire was off the edge. It wasn't that steep of a hill, but I would have went.
That's
so
scary.
I reversed. I was like, oh my god.
I bet you had a mean old adrenaline.
Oh man. Woo! Sweaty.
I've been talking a lot about God on here. A lot about faith. Because a lot of my previous friends and stuff, even me, like the older versions of the show, I would say agnostic, borderline atheist, more of an angry God type.
You know what happens to people is, it happens to everybody, and it's just the way that we respond to it. What happens is people get hurt by something special to us, something dear to us, and we get hurt. And what happens is we don't forgive that hurt, it turns into a root of bitterness. And when bitterness happens, it's very hard to come back from that. And really, God can only help you in those situations because it's love that you need love in order to remove that root of bitterness.
Yeah.
To heal you in your heart so that you can be humane and actually you can be humane, have compassion. Because a human is, people gotta understand, it's like you're made up of specific things and your characteristic traits are very specific, and we literally veer very far from it. And a lot has to do with money, a lot has to do with selfishness and things like that, which is greed and things like that. But yeah, it's hard, bro. Being like you were saying earlier, growing, it really takes a lot for you. It takes a very specific amount of focus, energy for you to grow and want to.
Yeah, it's like it's that's one thing I noticed about after reading all the stuff that I read, there's a commonality in self-help, AA, religion, right, day to day, faith is day to day,
right, that's true.
Staying sober is day to day, being happy is day to day, staying on top of your fears and all that stuff, or when you're growing, the fear of what you're doing as a day to day thing. And even me, I've been doing this for 5 years, this whole personal growth, being better thing. Every day, it's like, come on man, you got this, you got this. Like when you make that choice to grow, you wind up outside of yourself to the right extent.
You lift the lid.
Yeah, so you're constantly monitoring yourself, right? Because like for me, I realized, oh my fuck that. I saw it and I was and I was grossed out by myself. Right? And so now I'm just like, I don't ever want to be that guy. So every time I smell that guy showing up, I'm just hovering over him, checking him, correcting him. And so it's every day to day. Yeah. Slap myself around.
Yeah, for real. I have to slap myself sometimes too.
Like when I get depressed, dude, I have to do something. What I do to get over or anxiety. I do the dishes, I vacuum the carpet, or I used to do the yard work, now I don't.
Right.
But that showed me how having clean habits, like the stuff that you're supposed to tolerate.
Right.
That is actually good for maintaining the psychological stuff.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. If you always keep your hands busy, it's something with keeping your hands busy that literally just send off something great inside of you.
Yeah.
Your mind is clear, it's like you're always like toiling the field is what we say,
Yeah.
It's just amazing how, working with your hands literally makes you feel better, and we're in a
oh no. No.
We're still live.
Oops. Fuck, man. Oh,
that's
keep
all right.
going.
We
Keep
keep
going.
It's something about working with your hands that just makes you feel better. The Bible even talks about it. You working with your hands, you should eat. If you're not working, you're not eating. And although society today is very virtual, very
I'm virtual.
Things like that. It's still just having that working with your hands, that hard work with your hands, just does something different to you.
It does. Or even the opposite effect. Like if you work with your hands and you don't eat, you get sick. If you eat and don't work with your hands, you get sick. It's the yin and yang. There's a yin and yang to absolutely every aspect of life.
Right.
Right. And the problem is the culture, the fucking culture, is obsessed with comfort and convenience. And I've come to the conclusion that comfort and convenience is the devil, the ego. Because it's gratification of the ego, comfort and convenience. Because you tell yourself, I deserve this.
Right.
I deserve this.
And don't get it confused with rest. Don't get it confused with rest. It's different.
Rest is important. That's what the Sabbath is for. That's what today is for.
Yeah.
Today is meant
is different.
to kick it. Today is meant to turn up with your family. Today is meant to do what you love and not to worry about work. That's what the rest of the week is for.
Right. Yeah. You grinding all week and just relaxing. The comfort and convenience is when you're supposed to do something and you just choose not to do it and you sit there and do nothing, or you play Call of Duty for a couple hours. I've done that before.
I used to. I can only play for like maybe 30 minutes at a time.
And now these kids play Fortnite.
My son plays all day.
You know, I tell my
hold on. Yesterday, Travis Scott did a concert live on Fortnite.
No
for
way.
free. Nobody.
Yeah, everyone. That's right,
bro. Nobody could play anything else. They had to watch the concert.
Wow.
And let me tell you, it blew my mind because it was like a hologram, but it was projected into the background of the Fortnite, you know, the island or whatever.
Right.
So as they're running around doing all this stuff is happening, he's in the background performing. It blew my mind.
Wow.
That's revolutionary.
Wow. Yeah.
Like millions of people watched him perform live.
Right.
Forced them to watch him.
Right. Because they couldn't play the game.
They couldn't do anything else, and it was for free.
Wow. That's
and
awesome.
He's the first person that I know of to do it.
Right.
I thought that shit was so sick.
Like, yeah, that's crazy.
I get excited about the future when it comes to virtual shit like that. Because look, nobody had to leave their house.
Right.
Not a single person had to leave their house. Not a single person had to purchase a ticket. Nobody had to pull out their car. Nothing.
Right. Yeah, that's gonna. This quarantine, as we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
Is definitely gonna change the way we live.
Yeah, I think it's gonna.
Everything is gonna be virtual.
Have you seen Altered Carbon?
I've not.
Well, they have virtual in that, but that's pretty much. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that's the direction we're going.
Yeah, it's for sure. It's for sure.
Because Elon Musk has the Neuralink where they're implanting wires and stuff into the head, and then you got this. This is the Nokia phone of virtual reality right here.
Got you.
Super sick, dude.
Nice.
It's really good, and it's like the first one of the first of its kind. Because there's other ones, but you know,
I seen some dude with one of those on, and he was climbing. Did you see
that
video?
The climb,
yeah. He fell. Oh,
dude,
that was
real. It's scary. I like to play ping pong, and when the dude hit the ball, and it kind of.
He started flinching like the Matrix.
Yeah, no, this shit's your brain thinks you're
funny.
in there. It's legit, man.
That's awesome though.
But you know that can go. See, there goes again with the yin and yang because that could be bad.
Yeah, correct. It can.
Yeah,
it could literally isolate you when all you do is that, and you know your interactiveness with people. Yep, that's true. And that's one thing that if the government or the leaders that be or whoever what they call them, I don't care. Yeah, whoever's the devil's puppets in the background.
There you go.
What they want to do is they want to control your reality, and so if they can control your reality, they control your life.
Basically. That's true, and that's what the media is. They're the puppet masters of reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's created all the fear.
Yep.
Because I mean, I've watched the press briefings. That's what I watch. I don't watch any news outlet about it. I watch the actual White House press briefing, and I listen to what they say. And I'm not scared. I haven't been scared since it started.
Right.
You know, it scared me when it became airborne because I actually predicted that it would in December when it first happened, January. I was like, oh, it's not a big deal. The only problem is if it mutates and becomes an airborne.
Right.
And it did.
And it did.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that's scary. And if it mutates again and it becomes a more serious thing than it is, then that's scary. But if you know, that could be the potentially the only thing that's good out of the quarantine is you limit the possibility of the mutation.
Right. Yeah, that is. You know, they were talking about injecting with disinfectant.
Oh God,
that's crazy. Yeah.
They
wash your hands.
Well, bro, vaccines have disinfectants.
I know.
Formaldehyde is in vaccines, and that's a disinfectant.
Right.
It's like alcohol almost.
That's probably what he was referring to, but obviously
he's not a doctor.
He's not a doctor. So when they tell him he doesn't interpret it right.
Yeah. So exactly. So when
let him just do it.
The average person should have the know-withal to understand that Trump was a businessman and not a doctor. So if he's talking,
he's a businessman.
If he's talking on medical terms, you have to listen to him as if he's your friend talking about medical terms.
Yeah, because he don't know what he's talking about.
So if he says, "Oh, maybe," or "We could try this," or "The doctors could test this," you have to assume the doctors already advised him on it, and so that's the reason why he's saying shit like that.
Right. Just the possibilities of what could happen. You know, the things that they can do. So
yeah. Sorry, I'm checking the audio. Make sure it's working.
Okay,
it's working.
Awesome.
Because I do this so many times, and you know, doing this is hard when you do it by yourself because you're the engineer, you're the host, you know, you're the talent, you're the designer. So
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sometimes it's not smooth sailing, but it's all right.
It's all good.
The
trial and error. That's the basis of life, you know.
That's the basis of education.
That's the way you learn and you grow and a lot of different things is. and it creates experience, and no one can take away your experience.
That's what we were talking about earlier. So we bring that back up. Growth. We'll talk about that again, about how hard it is to grow as a person.
Right.
And see, one thing the reason why I don't have a relationship with my mother is because I can't handle her the way she is, because she cannot and will not. You want some more coffee?
Yeah, you know.
She cannot and will not grow as a person.
Didn't sleep well last night.
And
Thank you.
yeah, go ahead and talk about that.
Growth. I'll let him finish his story. Growth is super, super important. And it's like a tree. You plant a seed, and it's either growing or dying. You gotta water. You gotta give it the right nutrients. And as humans, the growth that we're talking about is God. You know what I mean? And God is what allows us to grow in actuality. What he gives us is the nutrients and the things that we need to grow. He waters us and things like that. And so, this reading.
Reading is the food.
Yeah, reading is the food.
Yeah, that's what brought me back to religion, or to study religion and back to God, is once I understood symbolism. And once I understood symbolism, I understood everything I didn't understand before.
Right.
And you just fart? You're just farting over there. No, but the problem is people, the reason why I don't like religion itself is because it's almost a crutch for the ignorant. Because they rely on the face value of the words rather than tearing it apart and absorbing it for what it actually is. Right. Because what I've learned is that it's work.
It is.
It's pretty much just work, and to be a good person, to do the right thing, to live by faith. It's work day to day to day to day.
Right.
Everything is day to day. I mentioned it earlier. The AA, religion, self-help. What?
Love you.
I love you too. It's everything is day to day. It's work, and it's fucking hard. And my mom refuses to do the work, and that's what I was getting at earlier. Right. She refuses to do the work, and she believes she deserves to be comfortable. And there's to me, I feel like that's one of the greatest tricks the devil ever played.
Right.
Is that we like, I don't know. See, even then I question it, because I don't think we deserve to be comfortable, but maybe we deserve to be content.
Yeah, contentment is important, because if we're not content with what we have, then we start to compare ourselves with others, and comparison is the thief of joy. And it's just literally, oh, I want this, and it turns into envy. Envy turns into pride, jealousy, and these are all ugly attributes that we do possess sometimes.
They're the ugliest parts of humanity.
Yeah.
That's why they're the 7 deadly sins.
Man.
Because if you show them or display them, the culture will shun you. Or unless it's a culture that's all the culture's about.
Right, which most today is.
Yeah, and it's a culture that doesn't thrive, though.
Right.
Like California is like that. California is slowly deteriorating.
Right.
It's the fabric of California is deteriorating because it's vanity. It's the lust of money. Because money to people buys happiness. Because happiness to them is stuff.
Correct.
I would give my kids all the stuff I never had. That's not the way I see it. When you're supposed to give your children what you never had, not the stuff you never had.
Right.
So, like for me, I never had parents, or I was never loved as a child. I never felt secure or safe with anybody. So what did I do? I'm doing that for my son. I'm giving him what I never had.
Correct.
I don't give him what he has.
Right.
He can get a job when he gets older.
Right.
Right. If he wants something, he can get a job and get it. I don't care if he's got the newest toys or the flashiest clothes, because I've learned that doesn't develop your character.
That doesn't define who you are.
Not at all.
I was listening to this doctor talk about. She wrote a book called The 5 Love Languages, and they were talking about how a child needs love to develop properly, to build real confidence.
Yeah.
And so, if they're loved properly, they become successful automatically. And it's just the development of it,
Yeah.
It's like they know, oh, I'm loved. I'm not concerned about being rejected or all these other things. Yeah, because I know that I'm loved and
Exactly.
I'm loved properly,
Yeah.
and so that was something that I read that really, spoke volume,
Yeah, yeah.
especially with today's society, is parents are so worried about the approval of others that they neglect their children,
It's very true.
and those children tend to follow the same
Yep.
pattern,
Yep.
and it
They
ruins
perpetuate
society.
they perpetuate family curses. That's a family curse.
Generational curse.
See, that's what people don't understand. See, curse is a symbolic word, because what happens when the mother is caught up in vanity, caught up in lust, and neglects the child still witnesses that.
Yep.
And so those habits and those things get perpetuated down the line,
Right.
because that child thinks, okay, this is what my mom did, I'm going to copy her, or sometimes,
Right. They
like
just follow
me,
suit. Right.
or sometimes like me,
Yeah.
you go the opposite route.
Right. True. True.
Sort of like,
There's always hope. And people go into forks in the road of their
yeah,
life, and they make a decision. Like you
yeah,
made a decision to say, you know what, I'm not going to continue to be like that.
yeah,
I'm going to do this because I want this for my life.
yeah.
And that's what you did.
I seen how other people got it,
And that's great.
and I was like, you know what, nobody's done that around me, so I'm going
Right.
to copy these people.
That's
I
true.
look at my mom and where she's at, and I'm like, well, I'm definitely never going to be like her,
Right.
because I don't want that,
Right. For sure.
And it saddens me because I know people who perpetuate their family curses to this day, till right now. They neglect their responsibilities. I'm not trying to be precise on my words right now.
Right. For
I'm trying
sure.
to beat around the bush.
For sure. Go back to growth.
But yeah, it goes back into growth.
Right.
Because, like, okay, so the individual I was talking about just now villainized me because of my growth. Made me out to, oh, you're a know-it-all. You think you know everything.
Right. That's so funny.
Trying to control, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, man,
we're just smarter.
Yeah, like you should be appreciative that I'm trying to improve your life so that you can get the things that you
Right.
want.
Correct.
But no, they want to settle. They want to settle for a half-assed relationship with somebody because. Okay, what are you, 48 pounds? I'm 4 and 6. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So they get into this relationship because they never had their mom or their dad.
Right. So they cling to something that they think is
something to validate them.
Right.
And without that validation, they're miserable. They're unhappy.
Correct.
And in order to love yourself, I always say this: you have to love yourself like you would love your own 3-year-old child.
Correct.
What would you allow your 3-year-old child to stay up all night, drink and do drugs, and not take care of the responsibilities? Fuck no. That kid will catch an uppercut.
For real.
But you see people doing dumb shit all the time and saying, I do what I want and can't judge me. And I'm just like, that's not how it works.
It's not how it works.
It's not how it works.
You're an adult now.
It's frustrating because it's not that you're angry, because if you didn't like them or whatever, you wouldn't even care.
Right.
Let them be them.
Right.
But the problem is you care, and so you try to stop it. And then
you try to help them out.
Yeah.
Throw them a lifeline so that because they're being ignorant. In reality, they're being blinded by their own personal gain. And it's something that they just, like you said, want to feel validated. They want to feel appreciated. But in actuality, that's not necessarily the relationship for them, because they don't. To me, everything boils down to your relationship with God. For me, I got a relationship with Jesus, so it's like, am I going to be perfect? No. Am I going to strive to be better? Absolutely. And God helps me do that, because obviously I need to be aware of things that I do wrong in order for me to know what to do right. And so, we have to have that relationship to be aware of these things so that we can grow and be better.
Yeah.
To not only love ourselves, but to love people. How can you give something you don't have?
Yes.
If you don't love yourself, you can't give love. And so you got to really, that's something that's probably the most important thing to focus on.
It's probably the most common thing that's happening right now.
True.
Because that's
Big-time.
exactly what I told the individual, is like, because they had recently got out of a relationship, and now they're already in another relationship, but they're with the opposite gender now. And it's like, you don't see what you're doing to yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I get the cycle. I get why. I get your why, but you're not seeing what's going to happen after.
Right.
Like the fact that the person even admitted that they don't love themselves.
Right.
So it's, to your point, if you don't love yourself, why are you being in this relationship with someone else? It's just going to end badly. Another heartbreak. And then you're going to, fall into your addiction again, or get drunk all the time to numb your pain, or you're gonna jump into bed with another person, and you might might end up with 6 kids, and you're still working a temporary warehouse job, living with your sister.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's it's like, love yourself, take care of yourself first, and then move on. That's what I'm doing. This is the first time in my life I've been single for 3 years. I've been single ever since first grade. I had a girlfriend every single year of my life. Man. I've always had a girlfriend. No, I had mommy issues, bro.
Player.
That's why the show's called God Save Mommy Home. It's a hole so big. Sorry. But I like the jokes. Yeah, man. It's frustrating to see it. It's frustrating to be witness.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they have a lot of misinformation about a lot of things, and their perception isn't truth. It's their reality. It's not truth.
Yeah.
And so just because it's reality to you doesn't mean that it's truth in life. And one thing that I really do my best is try to seek out the truth. Yeah. Because we'll create our own false reality. Yeah. And live in our own world, right? We're talking about the virtual, right? That's a false reality.
It's your own virtual simulation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so you tend to do that in your day-to-day life. Yeah. And millions and millions, and if not billions of people do it on a daily basis. And if we don't get truth, we'll never really know what truth is. And we'll create our own truth, and then that's what we believe. And that's why people argue all the time about nonsense.
Cognitive dissonance.
Thinking that it's truth, and it's not. It's their truth. It's their version of truth. Doesn't mean it's
I think that's why yogis and monks and people that know, like, that have, those people that seek truth, they're always at zen, even when they're at odds with someone else, or when someone else has a bad opinion. They never get upset. They rarely get angered, Right. And then on the other flip of the coin, the person's instant to anger.
Yeah, quick to anger. Yep, they're compulsive. Yeah. Yeah, the society's been very compulsive, which sucks, you know what I mean? Because I love people.
I do too, man.
Like, I love people, and I just wish that...
That's why I get angry. Like, people don't understand. I don't hate people. I'm angry because I love people. Right. And I don't want to see all that bad shit happening. Right. But yeah.
Yeah, that's the tough part about it, Seeing our own society deteriorate from within because of, vain things. And it sucks,
And for me, I have like a newfound, what would you call it? Sense of pride in our American culture, since I found out I'm a descendant of Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
So there's a sense of
the $20 bill.
No,
that's Jackson. My bad.
Yeah, that's the.
My bad. That's Jefferson's not on there.
He's not on the. Is he on the 100? No, that's Franklin.
Benjamin.
That's Frank. Is he on the 50?
No, that's Ulysses S. Grant.
Yeah, that's Grant. He's on the nickel.
Oh, he's on the nickel. That's right. He's on the nickel.
And he was on the gold dollar, one of the gold dollars. But
old school. I got a couple of those.
Yeah.
Silver ones.
But there's a sense of responsibility, There's a sense of like, you see it, and it's almost like people are insulting your heritage. But it's also everyone else's heritage too.
Yeah, no, it's the United States is crazy, man.
It's a crazy
place.
If you study history all the way back to the Ottoman Empire to now, it's amazing. Yeah. It's crazy that it exists.
Right.
That's what's so exciting about it.
Yeah, it is definitely divine.
Yeah.
Our country is definitely divine. We're still the baby of the world.
Yeah.
People think we're the baby of the world. Like, what, 200 years? 300 years? 300?
Close to 300.
Close to 300 years we've been a nation.
Yeah.
We've been a country.
Sovereign individuals.
Right.
That's the thing people don't get. Sovereign individuals. The first nation in the world where every single citizen is a sovereign. Like, sovereign means you have a spark of divinity within you.
Right.
Back in the day, it was only kings.
Mm-hmm.
It was only kings that were sovereign.
That's true.
And so, like, now everybody, even the fucking tweakers out there are sovereign, divine individuals. Right? It's sad.
It's true. Yeah.
It's sad, and it's infuriating. And now I'm a little more sympathetic. I'm a little more sympathetic because I understand why they got there, and I understand why it's so hard to get out.
Yep.
And it's frustrating, and it's because of the culture why they got there.
Yep.
And people don't see that. Like,
culture don't do nothing for you.
I had a friend that has a brother. I had a friend who has a brother who is a tweaker and a degenerate.
Man.
And when everyone else in his family were Marines, everyone's did the right thing but him. But it's because they have this fixed idea on the way things should be. So one time I was over at his house and my son was being a little boy, playing with toys, playing with balls, and then this fool he's like, "Oh, what the fuck? You know, your son doesn't obey your commands." And I'm just, and at that moment I was like, you don't get it, man. It's not about obeying commands. You have to shape a child, not dictate a child.
Right. Yeah.
Your job as a parent
That's
to
the
guide.
military.
Yeah. Your job as a parent is to guide, not to fucking yell and that's for later. That's for later. But right now, 1 to 5, you're developing their character.
Right.
They have to explore. They have to make mistakes. And what I think happens is when you get kids that are ADHD or hyperactive and they come from that type of background where they have an expectation on how you should behave,
right.
and you don't behave in that manner, right. they lack the love that they want or need.
Right. They need.
Yeah. So they go look for that warm hug in a glass fucking pipe.
Right.
And from what I've heard, it's a warm hug. Same thing with heroin. Right. And that's a deadly warm hug.
Yeah. Don't do drugs.
Nah. I mean, just weed, mushroom, enlightenment drugs. Just kidding, children. Don't do that. I'm a piehead, but I'm gonna have to give it up as soon as I move.
Oh yeah. So talk about your moving.
Oh yeah, I'm moving.
Yeah, I don't know if you've let them know.
No, I was on 2 other shows. I let them know, but not on this, not yet. Moving to Indiana in a week. Next Thursday, I should be gone.
Very, very quickly.
Yeah, and starting a whole new life. I already paid rent in advance. Got 3 months in advance. I'm gonna get the utilities turned on this week.
Rent's cheap, man.
Yeah, bro. $1,500 for 3 months. Why do you think I'm leaving California, dude? It's a 2-bedroom too.
Nice.
So I ain't tripping. And I got a job potentially waiting. I applied for a job last Thursday, got a call back 3 hours later, and they said, just give us a call when you get out here. So potentially I have a job, right. And it's doing what I want to do, which is being a heavy equipment operator. So that's a fucking blessing. And you know, they say God works in mysterious ways. He does, because every time my life has felt like this last 8 months, I've been miserable. And then since February, I've been terrified because February when they told me Bob died, that was like the nail in the coffin of my life falling apart. Right. And not having anybody or anything, you know. And it's even harder because I'm raising my son by myself. I get no help from his mom at all. Right. And it's like it's this newfound respect for the single parent. I don't want to say just single moms because I've known single dads as well.
Yeah.
The single parent, the individual who chooses to bear the responsibility of raising a child. Right. That is admirable because it's hard, man. You have to give up yourself.
That's true.
I had to give up the
gym.
You're
not living for you. You're living for them now.
I had to give up the gym. I had to give up exercise because that's the only thing. I'm telling you, bro. I had to give up my very first bodybuilding competition last year.
Oh man.
I was ripped, bro. I was down to like 4% body fat. I was weighing like 168, 170, dude. Ripped, big. I have weird muscles. I have type 2 muscle fibers, so they expand really fast, and when I don't use them, they shrink. So I was in the zone, but I had an opportunity, and it was for the family, so I took it, and then the opportunity folded in on itself, and that was the beginning of the depression. Right. And so this all lined up, but I've been talking about leaving California for a long time, and I've always said this culture ain't for me, and so I got a message from my stepdad who gave me my last name, which is crazy because my name in biblical terms means God's pet scribe worthy of praise. That's Cosner Clark Antonio, like from back last name middle to first. Right. That's what my name means. And he's the one that gave me that name. I don't know who my blood father is or what his name is. So and where my the lizard's doing push-ups. See it on the fence, on the top of the fence?
Oh man.
Oh, it stopped.
Oh, he left?
Sorry. No, it's like right there by the pole. It stopped doing push-ups. He
was flexing.
He was like,
he was like, you ain't working out, I work out for you.
See? Yeah. What was I saying? The ADHD.
Your dad. Your dad that wasn't there, you don't know him.
Yeah. And so he randomly contacted me, and I told him what happened, and he told me, he's like, there's plenty of work out here. Nice. And that's all he said. And then I gave it some thought. I gave it 2 weeks of thought because I've applied since February over 150 jobs in California. Wow. Not one callback. Not one single callback.
That's crazy.
Yeah. it drove me nuts, man. And then, not to mention I was getting kicked out. They're just like, oh, we're selling the house.
I know that definitely puts a damper on things.
Yeah, that was like, fuck. And when I tell people, I got dead eyes. Like, okay, what do you want me to do about it?
Right.
And so there was no empathy.
Right.
No empathy for my situation. So like anger was building. But I leaned on faith again. Now I leaned on Jesus and his teachings. Right. I sat here and I listen. I can't read. I'm a listener, not a reader. So I listened to the New Testament. I listened to the Gospel of Thomas. I listened to the Gospel of Philip. And I started listening to T.D. Jakes, listening to Stephen Furtick. And so things started to make sense. And so I just leaned in, just said, give me strength. That's all I've ever asked for. I never asked for anything else. And just said, give me the strength. And I made the choice. I had to make the hard choice. And luckily, my son's mother didn't give me a hard time about it.
Wow.
Because, she, clearly I'm always going to do the right thing for him.
Right, for sure.
So it's
you love your son.
Yeah, it's an easy.
Because you're willing to give your life for your son.
Always. And so, and the main reason why we're going is because I have a babysitter.
Yeah, and make sure he's taken care of in the right hands.
He's going to be loved.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing is to them, he's going to be their second chance.
Right.
Because they loved me.
Right.
And more I recall on the past, I listened to him. For some reason, he was like this manly dude, and I looked up to him in a way. Nice. And so I remember I was scared of him. And I have this theory that a young man like me should be slightly scared of his father.
Yeah, absolutely.
There should be
a healthy fear.
Yeah, a healthy fear.
It's like a reverence.
Keeps your ego in check.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I figured,
That's the way we should be
they're gonna a healthy little bit of fear, but respect.
Right.
And so yeah. So that happened. Then I messaged him or I called him and asked him. He's like, yeah, I told you guys anytime. All you have to do is ask. All you have to do is show up, and you're always welcome. So all right. So I made the choice, got my income tax money, boom, boom, boom. Damn, things happening. Things are happening just like that. And so, yeah, God works in mysterious ways. It's just, you got to understand that it's not always in your hands. Sometimes you have to go, all right, God, it's in yours now.
Right. And that's a faith thing, and the Bible says it's impossible to please God without faith, and you got to have faith. Abraham had faith and things. What's up, champ? What's up, bro? What's cracking? And you gotta have faith, and it's important. That's how God shows Himself a lot of ways. And it's like you gotta trust Him. If you don't trust Him, a lot of things won't happen the way that you expect them to happen. If you believe in something, you work towards that. God's gonna meet you on the other side with that. You just gotta work towards it, and you gotta believe. Hey, this is what I'm striving for. This is what I desire. Boom! God is gonna meet you. He's gonna show you in a miraculous way, what He can do. And God loves to show off. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I mean, we're His greatest show off.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever thinks about this. If we're made in God's image and we're made in His likeness, He's a creator. So what are we? We're creators. And just look at our world that we live in. It's amazing.
Right. Yeah, from what we've created as a
He gave us the assets and we built the stuff. And
man,
it's like
the new skin is in the item shop, but look.
Okay.
In a video game.
Okay. Cool.
I'm gonna buy it.
Thanks for putting your head on the show.
I'm gonna buy it.
All right.
I'm gonna buy the new skin.
Yeah, he just came over here to tell you he was gonna buy it.
Yeah. Let me know.
That's
what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
With all his money. He's got a piggy bank full of pennies. It's like, I'll buy it with my money, Dad. It's like, okay.
That's good.
But it's this whole coming back to faith thing created a new person of me, a new version of me.
Right.
And I've been telling people that this last depression has been weird because I'm a new person. And before I would lean on sex. I would lean on.
To stop streaming for now.
No. We'll be done in a little bit.
Almost done, champ.
Jeez.
I'm trying to shut down the show, man.
Yeah, the producer's trying to shut down the show.
Dictator over there.
Rude. Don't make a mess, please.
I know.
What was I saying?
He's the boss.
Yeah. Forgot what I was saying.
Faith.
Faith.
Changing you into a different person.
So what I like to say is what I wrote in my book. Oh, I also wrote a book. I don't know. Did I say that last time I was on here?
I don't think so. I wasn't here last time, but I don't think you've said it.
I wrote a book. It's an autobiography, memoir of the first 31 years of my life. And
Okay.
fuck, what was I gonna say?
Talking about the book. How you're gonna what's the title of the book?
Oh, the title of the book is Mentally Ill, semicolon, The King of the Valleys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good title.
Thanks. What I was getting at was, shit, there was a part of the book. Oh, I compare it to like my life, like it's the Truman Show. And you're going and you're Truman, and as you leave, you go into the studio and you look at old episodes of yourself. But like Truman, after he found out he was on the show, was a new person.
Right.
Like that was a revelation.
Right.
And so when you go after the revelation, you go back and you go over your old stuff. You're just like, ugh.
Right.
You know, so that's what it's like constantly for me.
Right.
So I'm constantly watching myself, like as I'm reading the book and I'm constantly going over my past. I'm just like, ugh. So now that's like a automatic. If I do something or make a choice, or if I have ideas or thoughts, I'm constantly hovering over them.
Right.
Like that's not who I am. This is something that I produced, and it could be right or wrong.
True.
And I think that's what enlightenment is.
Right.
It's the outside of yourself.
Right. The revelation part.
The symbolism of it. Yeah, the revelation of looking at yourself. That was one of the most powerful things that Jesus taught.
Yeah.
Is the revelation of self-actualization. Like he was the first real motivational speaker, the first real self-help.
Right.
You know, because
changed the world.
The entire world. People take that for granted. Like the non-religious people or the people who are atheists, like they take that for granted. Like even on speaking from an atheist point of view, even if he wasn't a magical, mystical being of God, he was still a great man.
Right. If you just look at the man part of it and what he's done, aside from the spiritual part and what he accomplished and what he fulfilled, he's still the greatest man in history. Period. Of what he's done. I mean, the Bible's written about him, and that's literally his divinity. But it's literally the most sold book in the world.
It's the most popular book in the world.
And literally, he's the most famous person in the world. Period.
Yeah, everybody knows about him.
He's literally turned the world upside down.
Yeah, and how did he do it though? With love. With real love.
With real love.
And that's like that. I never understood that before. Like the kind of love. I think you have to be older to understand the kind of love.
Yeah, it's different. If you're not to say that it's as you're young, because I mean there is some people that do understand the power of love and what it can do and the Bible says no greater love hath a man than to lay down his life for his friends.
Yes.
You got to have a willingness to give up your own personal self for others, and that's that's love.
That's like he compared in the Bible he's referenced as the father of mankind. Right. And as a father, that's only when I could comprehend.
Correct. That's true.
And I couldn't comprehend it before because I never had a father. Right. And so it was all. That's why I shunned religion, and I was like, where I was because I didn't understand. There was no. Not right now, no.
Right.
Yeah, go in the room. Get the hot Cheetos and go in the room, please.
You owe me push-ups, bro.
Yeah.
Burpees, as a matter of fact. We do burpees out here.
And so now that I understood that and I comprehended, that's what I want to do. I want to follow in Jesus' footsteps. Right. That's like, I don't know if that's bad or good, but like I want to be a follower of Christ.
Right.
Like I don't want to. Right. I want to be someone who emulates Christ.
Right.
I don't want to be Christ.
Right.
But I want to do my best to attain what he did.
Right.
To
become
as loving and compassionate and
take on his attributes.
Truthful and honest.
Right.
And it's just amazing and intelligent.
Right.
From what I took from what I read about him, it's just a very intelligent man.
Right.
Very intelligent, well studied. And the missing years, I have a theory that he went traveling around the world, spent time with Buddha. I have a whole thing because otherwise, I don't know. That's a whole nother route. Yeah, it's a whole nother route. But it's a good thing, man. It's a good thing, and I love it. And the whole idea of church is just getting a couple people together to agree on the same thing,
Right.
or to talk and have a conversation.
Yeah, because all buildings are buildings, regardless, and it is the gathering of the people that really bring to life anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Really.
The worship of the music, like for me, revelation of understanding what music was and why music is
Powerful.
It's powerful. It's universal across the board for every language. Like
right.
And that made sense to me because it was originally Lucifer that could only talk to God through music, and when he was cast out of heaven, God gave us that ability, and that's and that's why. No, go in the room. Oh my God, child. This one does not listen. I said, I'm gonna do a podcast. Don't bother me until I'm done. What's he do? He's just been coming over here.
He wants to be in the mix.
He needs the attention. He gets plenty. Little dork.
It's just kids. That's how.
Yeah, that's why I get frustrated with my friends who have that musical gift, and they have no responsibilities, but yet they sell their soul for the paycheck.
Right.
And I'm just like, man,
they don't follow their passion of music.
Yeah.
And God gave them that gift, Yeah.
Yeah. And then what happens when they do that? They get bitter. They get angry because their life isn't going the way they want it to.
Right.
And to me, that's like, okay, that's because you're not worshiping the way God wanted you to. God gave you that. That's my opinion. God gave you that gift for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, for me, I feel like God's gift to me is my mind. That's why I'm constantly trying to produce stuff.
Right.
Because I see things differently than other people, and I want to create, and I want to translate what's inside so that people can understand.
That's good.
And I want to help. Yeah, I want to help others do it too.
Yeah.
And everybody's got their own thing, and I feel like that's our purpose. We live in America. America's the only reason why that stuff is possible.
Right. That's true.
And when you sell yourself to the warehouse for 40 hours a week for a minimum wage, that's just like, to me, that's that's blasphemy. That's
man.
I get it though. You have to work. You have to pay
you
your
got to
bills.
hustle, and it's not to say that. If you work at a warehouse, you're going to be there for the rest of your life, or yada, yada, yada. I mean, that's really based on those people.
Yeah.
Those people are going to make the decision whether that's a stepping stone to the next level of their life, or, or they're going to be their life. Yeah.
That's going to be their headstone.
And so, there's a parable in the Bible, and it talks about a steward, and there was 3 stewards. One got 5 talents, one got 10 talents, one got 5 talents, one got 1 talent. Well, the 2, the 5, and the 10 and the 5 talents, they went and multiplied their talents. Basically, multiplying is using it for a purpose to do something. And 1 talent, the guy buried it, did nothing with it, and
because he didn't think it was his.
He didn't want to do nothing with it.
He didn't want to lose it.
He didn't want to lose it.
Yeah. I remember that story. He was fearful because God gave him something, or was it God that gave it to him?
Yes, it was implication that it was God because it was the master.
That was the parable of it.
That was the parable.
Yeah, so if God gives you something, you do nothing with it, that's like slapping God in the face.
Yep.
It's like, I gave you this so that you can go out and multiply.
Yep, you can go out and do it and use it and be fruitful and do things, and that's what God wants us to do is like when we're out there doing things, we're planting seeds, creating our own garden of things and bearing fruit and things like that. Obviously, some of these things don't make sense. To us, they do.
Sowing seed is like this podcast. The fruit is when, people watch it and take something away from it.
Take something good from it.
Yeah. So people, they when they hear words, they hear them on the face value, literally.
Right.
And you have to learn to look beneath the surface of the words.
You got to go deep.
Yeah.
To the roots.
A lot of people can't do it. A lot of people can't do it though. Maybe that's what we're here for.
Maybe
that's
for sure. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, for sure. How long has it been?
I don't know.
Probably like.
With the music?
Yeah, with the music. I fucked up. I can't believe I fucked up like that.
It's all good. I'll forgive him this time. Next time, we're not forgiving him. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I can't keep fucking up like that. So yeah, man.
Hopefully, things were good. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think we're done. I think the conversation's over. Let me
It was good.
I love talking, man. Podcast is my favorite thing in the world to do.
Before we go, tell them a little bit more. Obviously, you've probably shared, but you haven't shared with me because this is my first time on this show.
Okay.
Tell them about the Hustle More thing.
Hustle More, the ideology. It's more of an ideology, a mantra. Hustle more is when, to me, I use the term hustle more for my psychological issues. Like when I get depressed, I have to tell myself to hustle more because that's the only way that I can come out of my depression. If I'm stagnant and if I'm like, oh, woe is me, it's it just perpetuates the
You're like a
depression.
hermit.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Or even at work, or if you don't know something, hustle more. Like if if you have a passion, hustle more. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the
For sure.
musicians who have to work 30, 40 hours a week at a warehouse. You have 6 hours after work to do shit.
Right.
You know? Hustle more.
Right.
And it's all about your own personal, whatever it is that you want out of your life. Whatever it is, you have to hustle more.
Right. You got to grind to it, set some goals, push yourself. A lot of people, we're talking about comfort, right? Comfort,
convenience.
comfort and convenience, right? If you don't pursue your goals, your dreams, or whatever, you're going to sit back, watch Netflix all day or whatever it is that you like to do and just never accomplish anything. And you know, we're here to do things. We're here to fulfill what God put in our hearts, and God wants to fulfill that. And we just need to put our hands to the plow and go out there and do it and work towards it. And God will bless that.
Yeah. And like a lot of people, some of the people from my past, they don't see me as someone that does that. But it's something I've only done. I've only done the work because I've always worked in the literal sense. And so I was welding since junior year in high school, and then I haven't stopped working, but there's big gaps in my work because I've had to deal with depression for a very long time.
Right.
So on top of having depression and not having a family and raising myself, like that was hustle more. That was the work, but I didn't know I was doing the work. I didn't know I was doing the work.
Right.
But then I gave up on it. I gave up on that hustle when I got older. And
life hits you.
Yeah, right? Life hits you. You get depressed. You get suicidal. Right. You get lethargic. You don't want to do nothing. You just sit around, and you're mad. You're woe is me. But I feel like that might be a phase for men that men have to go through sometimes.
Yeah.
Even though it's ugly in a lot of dudes in their lives, but without it, there's no revelation.
Right.
Right.
And there's no appreciation.
There's no appreciation.
Because we take things for granted, especially in Western culture. We take things for granted a lot. And it's crazy just how we have certain luxuries that other countries don't have.
We have a lot more than other countries.
Dudes are just chilling. Like in reality, sometimes I fall into that category. To be honest with you,
my family is.
It's God that keeps me on my toes. God keeps me disciplined. God is always pushing me and encouraging me to do more and be more and strive for more on a greater scale, though. Not just more materialistic. Like these things are all gonna go away, but I mean, being someone just that brings value all the time and into people's lives,
into people's lives.
Yeah, to do when you encounter people, it's to make their life greater.
Yeah. So what are they
when
gonna
you got there? Exactly.
What are they gonna leave with after they're done with you? See, that's something I like to think I do is leave people with stuff.
That's good.
Because all I do is sit around and think. In 1,000 years ago, I would have been a philosopher for sure. I would have been one of those guys in his tower with all his books,
Yeah.
And
he's still a philosopher. Just there's a lot more people today.
It's a different time. Yeah, I'm still a philosopher. It's just a different time.
Yeah. We have a better avenue to get things.
Imagine if Jesus had this. If everybody had YouTube and Jesus was on there preaching to everybody. Can you imagine?
It'd be crazy.
Wow. And what if they live streamed his crucifixion?
They would probably say, what did they do? They edit it? Oh, they photoshopped it.
Yeah, that ain't real. That's CGI.
That's CGI. He didn't really heal that person's arm that was broken. That was CGI. It was fake.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, it's to put things into perspective, man. Like that's one thing I am blessed with is perspective. I have my it's actually on here on the channel, the 4 P's of my philosophy. It's paradigm, perspective, perception, and perseverance.
Nice.
That's the 4 P's of my
Your philosophy.
my philosophy. But you know, perception is important so that other people don't perceive you in a way that you don't want to be seen.
Yeah.
Right. That's something I didn't know. That's something I learned.
Yeah.
Paradigm is important so that you can put yourself in other people's shoes.
Right.
Perspective is important because it allows you to see a situation in a different angle. Because you can look at a circle for like this, and it'll be the shadow will be a circle, but the light's coming from the side, it'll be a square. Right. Or if it's a triangle, if it's a cone, it's a triangle against the wall. If the light's coming down, it's a circle on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all about perspective. And perseverance is in order to endure all those things, because it ain't easy constantly questioning life.
Man,
it's real easy to be content with what is and accept it and not change.
Right.
It's real easy, but it's hard. It's hard to do it the other way.
Right.
But yeah, so you guys haven't seen the 4 Ps, go check it out. Yeah. Is that it?
Sure.
Are we done?
Yeah.
How long have we been doing this? What time is it? Oh yeah, we've been almost for an hour.
Nice.
Nice.
Yo, so if you check me out, I'm on Instagram, C_V1S1ON, C Vision. Check me out.
I'll put it on the live streams info.
For sure.
Right now.
Facebook, whatever. Come check me out. And hopefully we'll revisit the channel again.
Hell yeah. And here, let's do this. See, I'm using my phone on my computer.
That's dope. Technology.
I'm telling you, I use it in my VR on my phone.
Love it.
We'll do this. We'll go over here. We'll mute the mic.